Welcome to the Astro Narrator, where the universe becomes a story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The universe remembers many battles, but none like the catastrophic fall of Xyrillian. Nine at a world once alive with shimmering blue forests and glowing crystal cities, now burned to black dust. Ash drifted across the sky like shattered memories. Metallic towers, once reaching toward the heavens, now lay broken like the ribs of a dying giant. And in the middle of this destroyed world, a single human soldier ran through the wreckage with a determination so fierce that even death seemed to step aside. His name was Sergeant Ethan Cole. Smoke stung his eyes, alarm screamed inside his helmet, and the ground trembled with explosions. The evacuation was already done. Everyone had already left the planet. Everyone, except him, because Ethan had heard something no one else cared to hear, a distress signal. Weak, broken, fading, and not human. It was Xyrillian, a warrior species so powerful, so legendary, that even the monstrous Vornak Empire feared them. But now, they were almost extinct. Ethan sprinted deeper into the ruins as the signal grew stronger. His boots splashed through pools of glowing blue liquid, the lifeblood of Xyrillian biostructures. The air shimmered with leftover energy, crackling like dying electricity. Suddenly, a whisper crackled through his comms, a voice breaking apart with pain. "Help! Warrior down! Paralyzed! Enemy! Approaching!" Ethan froze. Someone was alive. Heart pounding, he pushed forward, climbing over collapsed structures. The wind carried a deep rumble that made his skin crawl. That a Vornak juggernaut was nearby. He crouched behind a fallen archway as a giant shadow emerged through the smoke. A massive reptilian war beast, its molten armor dripping heat like liquid sunlight. Each step shook the ground, a monster built to erase civilizations. If it found a wounded warrior, there would be nothing left. Once the beast lumbered away, Ethan rushed toward the signal source. And there, pinned beneath the colossal crystal pillar, lay a warrior unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. A towering Xyrillian. Crystalline armor cracked and glowing faintly, like a dying star trapped inside a shattered gemstone. Ethan's breath caught. He recognized the face instantly. Commander KLRYX. Legend whispered across galaxies. The one who had once stopped an entire Vornak battalion alone, a warrior feared by enemies and honored by allies. Now, helpless, bleeding light, paralyzed from neck down, Ethan knelt beside him. "Commander, Kale, can you hear me?" Kale's eyes flickered open, fractured sapphire shards dimming and brightening like fading embers. His voice sounded like cracking crystal. "Human, why have you come? Your kind ignored my beacon." Ethan pushed debris off him. "I'm not leaving you. You're alive. That's enough reason." Kale tried to move his arms. They didn't budge. "I am broken," he whispered. "A warrior who cannot stand is already dead." "Maybe for Xyrillians," Ethan growled, "but not for humans." Kale's dim eyes watched him silently, studying him. Confused but hopeful, Ethan activated his comms. "Command, this is Sergeant Ethan Cole. I found Commander KLRYX alive. He needs immediate evac." Static. Then a cold voice responded. "Negative, Sergeant. Kale is immobile. Retrieval is a waste of resources. Retreat." "That is an order." Ethan's eyes flared with anger. "He's a legendary commander." "Sergeant," the voice interrupted. "He is a liability. Leave him." Ethan cut the comms before he said something that would get him court-martialed. Kale looked away. "You see? Even your people know I am useless." Ethan grabbed the giant warrior's hand. Heavy, warm, glowing weakly. "Listen to me," he said, voice trembling with raw anger. "I don't abandon allies. Not today. Not ever." Kale studied him quietly. "You humans are strange." Ethan smirked. "Yeah, we get that a lot." A low, distant roar shook the ruins. The juggernaut was returning. And now, it was coming straight for them. Kale's voice grew desperate. "Leave me, human. You cannot fight it. You will die." Ethan stood up slowly, lifting his rifle. "If I die, it'll be standing between you and that monster. Kale's voice cracked. Why? We are not the same. You owe me nothing. You save human soldiers, Ethan said, tightening his grip on the gun. Now it's my turn. The ground exploded as the juggernaut burst through the smoke. Roaring, molten armor blazing, red eyes locked on Ethan. Plasma cannon charging. The air hummed with deadly energy. Ethan ran. The juggernaut fired. A blast of molten plasma that turned a tower into dust. Shards of glowing metal rained everywhere. Ethan slid behind debris, firing shot after shot. Each one useless, he ducked as the monster tore through steel like paper. Its roar echoed like the scream of a volcano. Kale shouted, "You cannot kill it with that weapon." "I know," Ethan yelled. But he had a plan. He sprinted along the edge of the ruins, baiting the beast. The juggernaut followed, smashing everything in its path. Ethan leaped over rubble, dodging plasma blasts that scorched the ground. Molten that he wasn't trying to defeat the monster with bullets. He was trying to lead it. Right on a large, fractured crystal spire lying beside Kale, at a spire glowing dangerously, ready to explode. Kale realized it too. Human, that crystal, it will kill us all. Ethan skidded behind the spire. Only if we're standing on top of it. The juggernaut charged. Ethan dove aside. The beast stepped directly onto the unstable crystal. Ethan hit the detonator on his belt. The explosion was not a sound. It was a light so bright it swallowed shadows. Blue fire erupted upward, ripping the juggernaut apart from the inside. Molten armor exploded outward like burning meteors. When the blinding light faded, the juggernaut was gone, completely vaporized. Only a crater of molten rock remained. Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. Kale stared at him, not as a human, but as a warrior. "You faced a juggernaut," Kale whispered, "with courage and madness." Ethan laughed weakly. "Humans call it problem solving." Kale's dim eyes softened. "If I survive this day, my people will know your name." Ethan touched Kale's shoulder. "You will survive, even if I have to carry you across this entire planet." For the first time, Kale believed him. Ethan activated his emergency beacon. "Hang on, Commander. I'm getting you out, one way or another." Above them, the sky burned red as Vornak warships descended. More enemies were coming, but Ethan didn't care. He wasn't leaving without Kale. Not now. Not ever. The sky above Xyrillian, 9 burned like a dying sun. Vornak warships pierced the clouds, raining molten plasma across the ruined city. Every explosion shook the earth beneath Ethan's boots as he knelt beside the wounded Xyrillian commander Kale Ryx. The greatest warrior of his dying species, lay paralyzed, breath shallow, crystal armor cracked like a fractured star. Ethan Cole tightened the straps on his exoframe as he prepared to lift the alien commander. Kale weighed nearly half a ton, but Ethan didn't hesitate. He slid his arms beneath Kale's shoulders. Kale groaned in pain, a sound like crystal grinding against stone. "Human, your frame will collapse." "My weight is..." Ethan cut him off with a sharp breath. "Let me worry about that." With a force that pushed his body to the edge, Ethan lifted Kale onto the reinforced back harness of his exosuit. Alarms blared at overload. Mass limit exceeded. Structural failure imminent. Ethan ignored every warning that he locked Kale in place and whispered, "I told you, Commander. I'm not letting you die." Kale's dim blue eyes shimmered. Something in them changed. Respect, maybe even guilt. As Ethan began moving, Kale said quietly, "Human, they left me because I carry a secret, one that can shatter entire civilizations." Ethan glanced back, breathing hard. "Save your strength. We'll talk once we get out of hell." Kale's voice trembled. "I fear we may not leave hell." Before Ethan could ask more, a shadow crossed the ruins. Something huge landed behind them, that a Vornak hunter-class Ravager. Thinner than the Juggernaut, but faster, deadlier, designed to chase prey through ruins. Its tail lashed the ground, sharp as diamond steel. Its glowing green eyes fixed on Ethan and Kale. Ethan whispered, "Stay quiet." The Ravager sniffed the air. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Then it let out a shriek so loud the air vibrated. Ethan muttered, "Well, so much for stealth." He sprinted across the ruins, Kale's heavy body pulling his frame backward. His legs burned. His lungs screamed. The Ravager charged, claws scraping, tail slicing the air, breath steaming with toxic fumes. Kale warned, "Ethan, it will outrun us. Then we fight." Ethan dove behind a collapsed tower as the Ravager pounced, destroying stone pillars in a single strike. Debris flew like shrapnel, slicing the air. Kale whispered urgently, "Human, leave me. You cannot fight with my weight on your back." Ethan steadied his rifle. "I told you, not happening." He rolled aside as the Ravager slammed down, its claws tearing the ground. Ethan fired at its eyes. The only soft spot, 0.3 shots, 0.4.5. The Ravager screeched as sparks exploded from its cybernetic implants. Ethan dashed across the broken bridge, but the bridge cracked. The ground split under him, thought he slid, grabbing a ledge with one hand while Kale's massive weight dragged him down. His muscles tore. His shoulder screamed. Kale shouted, "Human, you will fall, drop me. Not a chance." With a roar that tore from the deepest part of his soul, Ethan pulled himself and Kale back onto the surface. The Ravager leaped again, like a streak of death. Ethan fired a grappling module at a broken beam and swung, pulling Kale with him. The Ravager crashed beneath them into the chasm, screaming as it fell into darkness. Silence returned. Ethan collapsed to one knee, panting, sweat dripping inside his helmet. Kale watched him with a strange heaviness. "You risk your life repeatedly," Kale whispered, "for a warrior whose own kind abandoned him." Ethan adjusted his grip, voice breathless but steady. "That's the difference, Kale. Humans don't leave friends behind." Kale's eyes dimmed, not from weakness this time, but from emotion. Something ancient and broken in him seemed to soften, but they didn't have time to rest. A low humming sound, like a growing storm, rolled across the ruins. Kale whispered, horrified, "No, no, no." They released them. Ethan frowned. "Who?" Before Kale could respond, dozens of tiny metallic creatures crawled over the ruins, spider-like machines with glowing red cores. Vornak Nexus swarmas, designed for one purpose: to consume injured targets alive. Ethan felt his stomach drop. "You've got to be kidding me." Kale's voice tightened with dread. "They smell weakness. They smell me." The swarm advanced, crawling over walls, tearing through debris, moving like a living storm. Ethan aimed his rifle. "We can still run." "No," Kale said quietly. "They do not stop. They do not tire. They do not miss." Ethan thought fast. Then he saw it, a fallen Xyrillian power conduit, leaking unstable energy like blue lightning. He had an idea, but a crazy, terrifying idea. He sprinted toward it. Kale shouted, "Human, where are you?" Ethan grabbed the giant alien crystal, ripping wires from it. Sparks spat across the ground. He slammed it into the ruins, creating a barrier of crackling energy. The swarm charged. The first wave hit the energy field and exploded. The second wave shattered. The third wave overloaded the conduit, which detonated in a massive burst of blue fire. Ethan was thrown backward with Kale still strapped to him. Dust, smoke, silence. Ethan coughed, struggling to stand. Kale stared in shock. "You turned a power conduit into a minefield." Ethan smiled weakly. "Improvisation. It's a human thing." But Kale's eyes darkened suddenly. "Ethan, there is something you must know." Ethan froze. "What?" Kale hesitated, then whispered, "My paralysis was not caused by the Vornak." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" Kale swallowed. A trembling, painful sound. "My own people, the Xyrillian High Council, ordered my execution." Ethan's blood ran cold. "Why would they do that? You're their greatest warrior." Kale shook his head weakly. "I discovered a secret they would burn the universe to keep hidden." Before Ethan could respond, a massive shadow fell over them, but a figure descended from the sky, towering, armored, glowing with red energy. Not Vornak, not human, not swarm, a Xyrillian executioner, sent to finish the job. Ethan whispered, "Oh, hell." Kale's voice cracked. "They found me." Ethan stepped in front of Kale. "I'm not running." The executioner raised its colossal spear of crackling crystal, and the scene fades out as Ethan prepares to fight an executioner of Kale's own species. Smoke hung in the air like a suffocating fog, drifting through the burning corridors as Jordan carried the paralyzed alien warrior, Kale, through the collapsing ruins of the outpost. Explosions trembled beneath their feet, vibrating the metal floor like the heartbeat of something dying. Sparks rained from broken cables overhead. Gravity itself flickered as if the station was losing its grip on reality. Jordan tightened his grip on Kale's limp body. "Stay with me, buddy. I'm not leaving you behind." Kale's one remaining eye blinked weakly, the glow fading. His voice was barely more than a ghost, trembling with fear. "Human, if they capture me, the galaxy burns." Jordan stopped. "What do you mean burns? Kale, what are you talking about?" Before Kale could answer, the ground beneath them detonated. A violent blast ripped the hallway open. Boom! Fire and shrapnel hurled Jordan and Kale across the corridor. Jordan rolled, coughing, ears ringing. As he pushed himself up, he froze at the sight forming in the smoke. A massive shadow point, two burning red eyes. Armor forged from black obsidian plates. Blades shaped like scythes for arms. Jordan whispered, horror rising in his throat. "No way, that can't be," but it was. The Dravik executioner, a creature spoken of only in terrified whispers, a monster said to kill entire squads alone. The ground shook as it stepped closer. Its voice scraped like metal grinding on ancient stone. "Surrender the air." Jordan blinked. "The what?" Kale's trembling voice cracked. "Jordan, run." But Jordan didn't move. Something deep inside him refused. That he stood tall, chest rising as fear twisted into defiance. "He's not your heir," Jordan said. "He's my responsibility." The executioner tilted its head, amused. "Then you die first, human." It lunged. Jordan dove aside as the scythe arm sliced the floor open, metal shrieking. He slid behind fallen debris, grabbing his rifle and unleashing a desperate burst of fire. The bullets sparked uselessly off its armor. The executioner leapt again, landing so hard the floor dented. Jordan rolled away just as the blade smashed down inches from his head. That he needed a weapon, that he needed something, anything stronger. His eyes fell on Kale's fallen spear. Humming with alien energy, he grabbed it. The crystal pulsed. He felt power surge through him like electricity. The executioner charged. Jordan roared, "Come on." He drove the spear forward. A blast of blue plasma exploded outward. Xyrillian. The shockwave ripped through the corridor, slamming the executioner into the wall. Its armor cracked. A flicker of fear, real fear, showed in its red eyes. But the moment was short-lived. The executioner rose, slower this time, more deliberate. Interesting. The heir has chosen a human. The prophecy was true. Jordan's blood ran cold. What prophecy? What heir? What are you talking about? Before the executioner could answer, Kale spoke, voice trembling with guilt. "Jordan, I must tell you the truth. I'm not just a warrior." Jordan turned toward him. "What do you mean?" Kale's breath quivered. "I am the last living prince of the Vidari sovereign line." Jordan's heart stopped. "What, a prince? Kale, what?" Kale blinked, tears forming in his alien eye. "My people were slaughtered. My family executed. I was paralyzed so they could use me as bait." Jordan felt his stomach twist. "Bait? For who?" Kale looked at him with a pain that pierced deeper than any weapon. "For you, Jordan, because your choices shape the future of galaxies." Jordan stepped back, shaking his head. No, that's crazy. I'm just a soldier. I'm not some chosen hero." Kale grabbed Jordan's arm with trembling strength, urgency breaking through his fear. "You came back for me when everyone else abandoned me. You are the hero humanity needs." Jordan shut his eyes, breath shaking. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a man who was completely, terrifyingly in over his head. But something inside him shifted. He rose. The executioner leveled both blades at Jordan. "Final choice, human." Jordan gripped the broken half of Kale's spear, its crystal still glowing faintly. "I made my choice the moment I carried him." Jordan said. The monster lunged, Jordan charged. Their collision detonated like thunder. Light burst. Metal screamed. The outpost shook like a dying beast. Then silence. Smoke drifted slowly upward from scorched metal. Jordan lay motionless, chest barely rising. Blood dripped from his forehead. Kale screamed, voice full of terror. "Jordan!" The executioner stepped over Jordan's fallen body, its red eyes turning to Kale. "Now, heir, you belong to us." Kale tried to move, fought with every fiber of his broken body, but paralysis held him. "No. Please." The executioner lifted him easily and carried him into the dark. Engines roared in the distance, the ship dotted departure. Kale was being taken away. Jordan's fingers twitched, his eyes opened to slivered. He whispered, barely audible, "Kale," and the world faded to black. The skies over Xyrillian 9 burned with a blood-red fire, as if the planet itself was screaming in pain. Smoke and ash swirled in spirals across the broken horizon. Craters glowed with molten metal, reflecting the dying sun. Somewhere in the chaos, the roar of engines and explosions made the ground shake violently under Ethan's boots. He sprinted across the jagged ruins, carrying his exosuit at full power, scanning the smoke-filled horizon. His eyes locked on a massive Dravik ship hovering above the crater, its red engines burning like molten suns. Inside, he knew Kale was trapped, bound, paralyzed, and completely helpless. The moment Ethan saw him through the alien energy shields, something in him snapped. Fear vanished. Only rage and determination remained. "This ends today," Ethan whispered, tightening his grip on his plasma rifle. His voice was steady, full of fire. No one takes him without paying. Kale's single glowing "I met Ethan's," as if sensing his resolve. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. The war was far from over, but they would face it together. The first wave of Dravik soldiers descended like shadows, cybernetic claws slicing through the air. Ethan fired, plasma bolts scorching metal and tearing through robotic limbs, each shot more precise than the last. Sparks and debris flew everywhere as he ran, leaping over broken walls and twisting towers of debris. Behind him, the Dravik executioner emerged from the ship, its red eyes fixed like death incarnate. Ethan gritted his teeth. "All right, big guy. Time to dance." He leaped from a collapsing bridge, rolling midair, and fired at the executioner's exposed joints. Sparks flew. Armor cracked. The massive alien paused, recalculating its approach. Then the Dravik ship released another wave. Thousands of spider-like swarm drones poured down, filling the battlefield. Ethan grunted and activated a concealed device from Kale's harness. A surge of Xyrillian energy erupted in a massive arc, vaporizing the first wave of drones instantly. Kale's eyes widened. "You're amazing human," Ethan smirked, dodging an energy blade swing. "Not amazing. Just stubborn." The executioner roared, a sound that shook the ruins like an earthquake, and charged. Ethan sidestepped, sliding across molten debris, and fired a grappling hook at a broken spire. With a burst of strength, he swung, dragging Kale with him in a perfect arc, smashing into the executioner's side. The blow cracked its armor. Sparks sprayed, lighting the battlefield like 1,000 lightning strikes. Kale whispered, voice trembling, "Ethan, I feared I would never see freedom again." Ethan locked eyes with him. "You're not just a prisoner. You're a warrior. And I don't leave warriors behind." Something shifted in Kale's massive, crystallized body. A surge of energy, faint but undeniable, coursed through him. His eyes blazed bright blue as he pushed against the restraints. Even paralyzed, the latent power within him began to awaken. Ethan knew he had one shot. He grabbed a massive fallen crystal spire, channeling every ounce of energy through Kale's weapon system. A beam of searing blue light erupted, striking the executioner squarely in the chest. It screamed, staggered, and roared as cracks spread across its armor. The ground quaked under the force, but the battle was far from over. The Dravik ship descended, releasing a massive plasma cannon. The blast streaked across the sky, obliterating buildings in its path. Ethan and Kale rolled, narrowly avoiding the wave of destruction. Dust, debris, and energy rained around them. Ethan gritted his teeth, raising his plasma rifle. "You can throw everything you've got," he shouted, voice raw with rage, "but we're taking him down today." Kale's crystal hands glowed fiercely as he focused his remaining energy. Together, they charged, human and Xyrillian, unstoppable. The executioner swung its scythes, slicing the air like falling stars, but Ethan dodged, weaving a deadly pattern around the monster. Kale's glowing crystal blast struck again and again, weakening the alien titan. Finally, in one massive synchronized strike, Ethan and Kale leaped together. Ethan held the executioner's attention, drawing its gaze, while Kale unleashed a concentrated surge of Xyrillian energy into the monster's chest. The executioner's scream tore through the sky as it was torn apart, exploding into shards of molten metal and shattered armor. Silence fell across the battlefield. Kale collapsed into Ethan's arms, his crystal armor smoking, energy fading. Ethan held him tight, breathing heavily, sweat and soot streaked across his face. "You did it," Kale whispered. "I never thought I'd see freedom again." Ethan smiled faintly, voice soft but resolute. "No warrior gets left behind. Not today. Not ever." Above them, the Dravik ship burned and twisted in the sky, crashing into the horizon in a spectacular explosion that lit the entire planet like a supernova. Dust and firestorms swept across the ruins, but for the first time, there was hope. Kale turned to Ethan, eyes full of gratitude and wonder. "You are unlike any human I have ever known. You've changed everything." Ethan chuckled, exhausted but alive. "Just doing my job, keeping promises." As the two warriors stood among the ruins, silhouetted against the burning sky, the camera pulls back, revealing the destroyed battlefield, the smoking craters, the shattered city, and a single, unbroken beacon of blue light emanating from Kale's body. The galaxy had seen heroes before, but none like this. A human who carried a paralyzed alien warrior, defied armies, defeated legends, and changed the fate of worlds. The shot lingers on Ethan's determined face, then Kale's faint, glowing smile. As the screen slowly fades to black, a voiceover closes softly, echoing across the silence. "Some heroes are born from legends, others rise when no one believes in them. But together, they become unstoppable."